I will now call the regular council meeting of Monday, June the 23rd to order. There is an agenda in front of you. Can I have a motion, please, to approve the agenda? Councillors Randawa and Ady. Any additions to the agenda? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. We now have an opportunity for public comment regarding any agenda item. Any item on the agenda, members of the public are now free to come and comment on if they wish.
Yes, I have comments. This is specifically, that was a word.
So you, until you get up here to the microphone, yeah. Mhm. And you need to make sure that, I think the microphone's still on. No. Oh, there we go. All right.
Thank you.
Now you need just identify yourself and begin.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my name is Rain Dowell. I'm a recent resident of Prince Rupert. I have been here before and worked here before, so I'm familiar with it. And my comment, or I don't know if it's an idea or comment or suggestion or what it is, but it's an idea around reconciliation is not a return to the past. It's creating something new together. So what I think would be a nice idea would to have a community reconciliation committee. Okay, so these would be made up of volunteers, so people who have family and history in the community, and primarily, to me, it seems important that there are at least 2 members of each band in this area that are a part of this committee. Namely because Indigenous peoples in Prince Rupert make up, I think, a bit over 50% of the population. And I don't think they're represented very well. So I would like to see them represented a lot more. And also other multicultural representatives. So people in the community that are also considered multicultural. So what I think would be great is if this committee monitor the public spaces, ensuring that the pictures, words, statues, etc. are in line with co-creating an inclusive, safe, positive environment, mostly for the children, because they learn from us, and what we have up and around and in the community tells them a lot without any words. So I think that needs to be addressed. So I think it would be great if there were some bylaws created to ensure the committee's decisions are carried out. I think it'd be great if there was transparency, so the local newspaper will publish the committee's decisions or what the committee is considering. Say it's a statue and the committee is investigating what value does that bring to our community? What feelings does it bring up with members who are from this community who have lived here for a long time? And visiting the library, getting some history, talking to some people in the area, and then deciding what happens with these things that we have surrounding us that act as subliminal messaging, in essence. So I think that really needs to be addressed. I think it would move things forward in a meaningful way towards reconciliation. Yeah, that's it.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you. Is there any other member of the public that would like to speak to any item that's on the agenda this evening? Hearing none, we'll continue on with the agenda. There is a consent agenda in front of you. Number of items. There are the minutes of the special meeting to close on June the 9th, the minutes of the regular meeting of June the 9th. There's reports for receipt. There's a report from the fire chief. There's a report from the manager of communications, engagement, and social development with the updates on the Indigenous Relations Committee. There's a report from the city manager with consideration of the 2024 annual report for adoption. There are correspondence for receipt, letter from the District of Coldstream, with regards to modernization of wastewater regulations. It's a UBCM resolution. There's the monthly Northern Healthy Committee's e-brief, the letter from the Village of Chase regarding funding for public education. There's a letter from AltaGas with regards to the Prince Rupert City Council Fire Control and Protection Bylaw number 2944 amendments, and a letter from the City of Campbell River regarding the Let's Lead Change Together for BC's Resource Development Dependent Committees. The recommendation is that all the items on the consent agenda be approved or received as requested. Can I have a motion to that effect? Councillors Forster and Adey. Any discussions, any items you want to draw attention to? Councillor Forster.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did have two questions. The first one, can staff help us understand which of the many grants that are listed under the Northern Health one we have applied or might be applying to?
All right. DCM Pucci, Acting Manager Pucci.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm going to defer this to Director Miller.
Director Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With assistance from our Manager of Communications, I can confirm that we have applied for a number of the grants on the list, including the infrastructure planning, the active transportation. We've also note that the community climate funding finder is more of a tool than an application. So without going through each individual one, if there's one on that list that we qualify for, that we could apply for, we have applied. Ones where we don't have any line items in the budget with a project, then we have not, or where one of our partners have applied, we've opted instead to provide them with a letter of support so that we're not competing for the same money.
Great, thank you very much.
Excellent.
Councillor Forster.
Thank you. My second question is about the letter from AltaGas, and perhaps it's my confusion, but we've received quite a few of these letters now. And my understanding from past budgets when I've asked the question is this actually isn't a change in process. We haven't had the ability to go and service some of these industries for quite some time, if ever. So I'm not certain I'm fully understanding if there's an actual change in process. Like right now, if there was a fire at one of these, do we have the capability as a city to go and attend? Or has that been something that's been longstanding delegated to those groups? I know some of them do regular fire training as part of their orientation.
Acting City Manager Pucci.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we've publicly said that we would be maintaining the existing service that we provide right now. So if there's a call to go out to one of the industries on federal properties, we will continue to go out and do everything to our capabilities at our current level. But we've also have been developing a fire bylaw with service agreements embedded in it, and we are looking to set meetings within the next few weeks with the PRPA and industry to discuss those as part of engagement. Once those are complete and we've sort of started engagement, we will be coming back to council at the next meeting with comprehensive report of the progress on that process. So we are just going down that path right now, and we'll be reporting to council at the next meeting. Thank you.
Councillor Forster, is that clear?
No. So said differently, right now, if there was a fire at one of those properties, we do have the capability of helping. We have the right equipment. We have all the things we would need.
No, I think it's more accurate to say that we would respond within the capability that exists. Training, equipment, whatever. And so, it would depend very much on the nature of the incident in one of those places. If it was a small structural fire, I'm presuming a little bit, but that, you know, we would have the capability of responding to that. If it was a more significant engagement in any way in which we're either not equipped or trained, we would not be able to provide the service. That's the way it's been, and that's the way it's contemplated still today. Is that helpful? No.
It is. It is in that that's what I understood, but I'm not certain then where these letters are coming from, where it seems that some of these proponents don't have that understanding.
Well, I can't speak for the proponents, but I suspect that for some of them anyway, they would have assumed that we could do everything, that we were capable of doing everything. And I think it's been a wake-up call for everyone to understand that the current limitations of the fire response capability, but more importantly, really where we want to take the conversation to is, and it's been a background conversation with the PRPA for a number of years now, is how do we fund and improve either the city themselves, or I suppose it could be done privately with industry. We prefer the path that the city expands its capacity with adequate funding to ensure that the response capabilities are there, that the training is there, that the equipment is there as required. So the goal here is to make sure that we get from where we're at to where everybody needs us to be. Would that be accurate?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, that's accurate.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right. Any other items there you want to draw attention to or have questions about? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. We have two reports. We have a report from the Chief Financial Officer. It is the Statement of Financial Information, often called the SOFI, with a recommendation that Council approves the 2024 Statement of Financial Information as presented. Can I have a motion to that effect? Councillors Naish and Cunningham. Any questions or comments? I encourage members of the public to have a look at it. It is a transparency document. It requires that all monies paid out to elected officials be listed. So both in terms of compensation for remuneration and in terms of any expenses that are paid for travel, those sorts of things. It is requires that all employees who earn over $75,000 are listed in the amount of their income. I would comment that 20 years ago, and more than that, 25 years ago when I was first elected to council, that number was still $75,000. And it was a very small list of people that made it over the $75,000 threshold. I would strongly encourage the province to tweak that number, because we're hitting the place where most employees now, many of our employees, cross that $75,000 threshold. It also lists out every payer to a supplier over $25,000 and some other information in there. It is, as I say, it's one of the things I love about the nature of local government and how we're required to operate is there is full transparency. You may not like what you see, but it's there for you to see. And so I encourage people to have a look. All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. We have a report from the Director of Operations with regards to RFQ PW 2509 Capital Paving Award. A recommendation that Council award RFQ PW 2509 Capital Paving to Zulo Aggregates, Inc. Can I have a motion to that effect, please? Councillors Adey and Skelton Morvan. Any questions or comments? Councillor Cunningham.
First question is there a bond for this contract from this company?
Acting Manager Pucci.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would like to defer the questions to our Director of Operations, Jordan Schmidt.
Director Schmidt.
Through the mayor to council. First off, thank you for the question. We haven't finalized the contract. We're actually working with our project consultant. We will be putting a bond in place still.
Councillor Cunningham.
You know, the size of the contract, 2.7 million, and the fact the contractor's from Alberta, I think there should be certain aspects of this for, you know, either a holdback or a bond in place to guarantee that this work will be done properly and they'll come back and fix anything that isn't done properly.
I will note, just for the public, that the two bids that were deemed to have met the requirements were, one was from Zulu, the other was from Adventure Paving Terrace Construction. The bid from Adventure Paving Terrace Construction came in at $3.8 million, and the Zulu aggregates was $2.77 million. Councillor Cunningham.
So this 2.77 that's the top. There's going to be no add-ons or anything like that. There's a lot of these contracts lately seem to have overruns. And
Director Schmidt.
Yeah, through the mayor to council. So that is the cost per the paving price. However, we have a overrun allotted in there for miscellaneous works such as raising valves, changing catch basins, and that's been allotted in there as well. So that's work that mostly the public works staff does, but we have funds to do that.
Councillor Adey.
I'm not sure if Councillor Cunningham was finished.
I can go back.
Okay. I guess my question, I think that it's fair to say that around the table we would all prefer, all things being equal, to award to locally based companies. And the problem here is that the difference is $1 million, roughly 33% difference. And I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to get the answers to the question, but my first question is, why is there such a difference, to the extent that we know anything about it, between the two bids, assuming that what we're going to get out of it is the same thing?
Director Schmidt.
Through the mayor to council. So it's staff's preference to award to local companies as well. When we went through the bids, the difference came mostly on the material pricing for the asphalt. So there's roughly a 39% increase between the two bids, between the cubic meters of asphalt going down. The actual unit rates for truck drivers, laborers, excavator operators are very similar. Some are more expensive with Zulu, some are more expensive with Terrace, but it seems to be mostly the material pricing that the difference is in.
Councillor Adey.
Thank you. I would follow up also that one of the things to consider, and I'm not suggesting that this is $1 million difference, but the notion that the local workers, the money stays in Prince Rupert and gets redistributed. I'm just not sure that anybody could credibly say that that's worth $1 million. My last question around it, Councillor Cunningham alluded to a portion of it. I'm just wondering about whether it's built in that there will be a commitment to follow up and come back and fix things if things aren't done to our satisfaction.
Director Schmidt.
Yeah, through the mayor to council. So with our recent adoption of the MMCD standards, our paving contract is a lot more robust than it has been in previous years. So there is a warranty period to go back. We also have a lot more substantial testing and procedures than in past paving contracts. So we're going to have on-site inspection. We're going to be taking batch samples from the asphalt, reviewing placing standards, and then actually taking core samples. So we have a lot more robust testing on the front end and on the back end, and then the warranty period on top of that. To address something else that came up there as well, we also have the holdback period as well, that we're going to be having holdback on all these paving sections, that if for some reason this company doesn't come back to it, we'll have the holdback to remedy any failures.
Councillor Cunningham.
Not that I want to tell you who should go first or that, but your schedule, is Crestview number 1 on it? Because they've been suffering quite badly up there with dust and everything else, and it would be kind of nice if that section was finished.
Director Schmidt.
Yeah, through the mayor to council. So absolutely. So that's the very first thing that was discussed in the scheduling with both contractors when we were going through it, is that will be the first piece paved.
There you go.
Thank you.
Are you ready? All in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. We now move on to your time, Council, for your questions and comments. Councillor Eady.
I have a couple of things. I'm sorry, I've forgotten what day of the week it was, but late last week, Councillor Forster and Councillor Randawa and I, along with Directors Miller and Pucci, were able to go out to Miller Bay and observe the raising of the monument there, which is a recognition and acknowledgement of the events that took place at the hospital out there and how that's impacted people. I just wanted to say how moving and powerful that was, and to give credit to the artist, Mike Epp, for what I think is an extraordinary piece out there. I encourage people to go and have a look at it. I think, to me, it's one of those really important visual reminders of the work of reconciliation. I just think it was an extraordinary day, and I was pleased to be a part of it.
Excellent. Any other comments from updates? Councillor Eady.
Sorry, excuse me. I had a second one on a much lighter note. It's the end of the school year, and I want, as a former teacher, I must admit that I no longer feel the rhythm of the end of June and the relief that comes with it. Those days are gone, but I know that they exist for those who are involved in it. And so to the students, well done. Have a great summer. Don't forget how to read and write. And to the staff and administration, I know how much work's involved, and the break is well deserved.
Yeah, one of the pleasures, I guess, of my role is that I get to attend the grad ceremonies. So there was the Charles Hayes grad, but also the PCS grad, Pacific Coast School. Both were inspiring, and you're absolutely right. The teachers are amazing. The administration, of course, I'm a little biased, but and that my wife works in the administration, but the administrators work really hard, and they really care about the kids. And then just this evening, I was able to attend the award ceremony for the grade 10, 11, 12s at Charles Hayes. So all pretty special. Councillor Forster.
Thanks. I just wanted to echo Councillor Eady's comments. Councillor Eady and Director Miller and I all several weeks ago went and were able to spend some time at Mike Epp's house and work on carving some of the monuments. So this was really quite powerful, both as a community member, but for me especially as a nurse, starting to work towards addressing and doing better with the healthcare system and Indigenous people. So I just want to extend a lot of gratitude to the people that did the work and planned this. We showed up after the fact, but we were not the ones that did all the work leading to it. So a special shout out, I believe Valley Knott spent a lot of time doing a lot of this work alongside people. So just wanted to flag that. I also, on a lighter note, yes, congratulations to all the graduates. Have fun. Welcome to the next step of your journeys. Northern Health hired every single one of the nursing grads from the most recent graduating intake that was from Prince Rupert. So the ones that wanted to come back to Prince Rupert did and have been hired, which is quite exciting. And a shout out to you, Mr. Mayor. This evening, I was able to help moderate a panel with Governor General of Canada's leadership alumni and a discussion about how we can all start working together as a province and others into better economic viability for all of us. One province, one voice type of a notion, and how we can start finding things that instead of all of us fighting against, maybe there's a few key ideas that we can all an entire province get behind. One that stuck out for me is clean drinking water, which with the pipe I can see on the table is something that's, I think, near and dear to all people in our community. So I think that's all I wanted to say tonight.
Great. Any other comments from council? Councillor Cunningham.
Unfortunately, I was in Prince George at an NCGLA meeting on the weekend, but I did watch the pole raising live, and it was just as moving and just as impressive. My mother-in-law actually went to it, and she was quite moved. It was, something to watch, even though I wasn't there physically. Just watching it by video was quite impressive, and it's a beautiful pole. We stopped and saw it as we drove into town, along with a crowd of people. And the other thing I'd like to bring up is there's been some discussions around a hop-on, hop-off bus for tourists and the cruise ships. And it's something I think the city should get behind, even though we can't financially help it anyway, because there's a lot of people come in on those cruise ships and that walk up from the hill and everything. They're elderly or in some ways handicapped. And this would open up the town for them to see it, and also to shop in different areas, not just concentrated in one little area. It gives all the other shops in town an equal opportunity for them, not just the people that are capable of walking uptown.
All right. Any other comments? Councillor Skelton Morven.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, I missed the chance to jump in on the conversation for the our reconciliation committee. I just wanted to thank them for all the work that they're doing. Unfortunately, I wasn't in town for the pole raising and some of the other projects that have been going on, but I really think that it all starts with an ember and it can kind of burn into a vision and an idea, and these things continue to take place. And the more and more these projects can come through, that placemaking aspect and feeling like we actually belong in spaces and places that we've resided in for tens of thousands of years, I think is really critical and important. And just to thank those that have done the work and that are now to just see where this goes from here. It starts with Denver and watching these pieces roll through and new projects and other groups and people coming together, I think is really the end goal. And now just finding what that looks like, going down the road, working with our neighbors and our partners across over the pond per se. Yeah. So no, and thank you.
Excellent. I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Director Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You need to adjourn to a closed, and the information is on your agenda as to the reasons why.
All right. Thank you very much. Yes.
I can move that.
So the motion to adjourn will be to a closed meeting under section 90.1 labor relations or other employee relations, and 90.1E the acquisition, disposition, or expropriation of land or improvements if the council considers that disclosure could reasonably be expected to harm the interests of the municipality. Can I have a motion, please, to that effect? Councillors Cunningham, Councillor Adey, all in favor? Any opposed? It is carried. Meeting is adjourned. We'll take a quick break and